All right, Shalom. I'm gonna start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Shemal, Shabbat, Shemar, the abundance of the apostles and elders of great millstone. Shalom to the Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. And I just wanted to get in quick lesson going into get used to that Stoic lifestyle. You know, um, look around the world. You see that everything is becoming extremely scarce. The functions of entertainment, the bread and circus, the events, celebratory events, all these things are cut out. Hell, even if you're looking at it in the supermarket regard, a lot of these different supermarkets is going to be a scarcity of even the way you eat. The king's meat. Scriptures speak about how victuals in Second Esdras, how victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. Men would think they're in good regard. And then after these famines and pestilences and things of that nature, and we're witnessing these things right before our eyes. So how ought we to be, in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai? We should be getting adjusted to the new style of living. See, adjustments can either make or break you in this faith. And us brothers, scriptures speak about being wise as serpents, because serpents know how to do what? Adjust. When you dealing in terms of snakes, you have snakes that are that can live in all kind of diversification of environments. Some snakes that can live in the desert. You have snakes that roam throughout the water moccasins, green based areas, grasslands, and they have the spirit of adaptation. They adapt to their environment, plus they have extremely low profile, and they'll, build as they go, so to speak. And you got to have that same mentality in this faith. These things are, different things are going on in our personal lives, and we have to, take it as it comes. As men of Yahweh Shema Shai, take it and develop off of it, whether it's good or whether it's bad, because we're starting to experience a lot of hardships. And brothers been, of course, going through the hardships, but these hardships are continuously, they're gradually getting harder. And us brothers, we have to get more adamant minded, all right, because when hardships come, you have to get hard, all right. That's the element of adaptation. And this is under the definition of Stoic. It says a person who can endure pain or hardship without showing their feelings or complaining. Right. And that also goes into endurance. The word endurance goes into the word abduro, which means to make hard. 2 Timothy 2:3, which Lord willing, I'll bring that out. It says a member of the ancient philosophical school of Stoicism. Yeah. And in the book of Acts, they speak about the Epicureans and the Stoics. They would have the debates because you had the Epicurean house of the Epicureans. They were all about living lives according to pleasure. Circus, base events, celebratory, going to the amphitheater, gymnasiums, looking sexy and eating opulent meals, traveling the world, popping a high volume of women. That was the life of the Epicureans. That was how the Epicureans got pure fulfillment. But the Stoics, they were a house of discipline, disciplinarians, and they would speak about, the grit of life. You going through the hardships and the pain and the suffering, and that's what truly, is the most befitting way to live. It's not glorifying all the pleasures of the said kingdom that you're living in, but the things that you went through. And that's why when they would go through these things, they would know how to react to them, without bugging out. Because those Epicureans, if they lost their houses, they lost their money, they lost their riches, they damn near want to kill themselves, man. But continuing on, it says another term for stoical, but when you go into it in the translation, it's it goes into painted porch at the Athens. When you go into the Stoa, you'll see the hall. All right, they will have the actual hall that that the that the men would actually the Stoics would actually you know get together. See, they would actually be at this hall and they would actually speak wisdom, you know, and a lot of those men had certain biblical texts, things of that nature. A lot of them were actually Jake. That's why I want to speak about the Epicureans and the Stoics. It wasn't really talking about Edomites. For the most part, it's talking about Jakes, that was amongst those Greeks, and they started to learn that Greek style way of practice. So they had the discipline, but they just didn't have the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shah. All right. So, matter of fact, I wanted to go to this other thing. Oh, Stoa. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. The second part was Stoa, which goes into the great hall in Athens, in which the ancient Greek philosopher Zeno gave the founding lectures of the Stoic school of philosophy. Yeah, and this individual Zeno, he might have been a Jake. I have to go, deeper into it. But a lot of those sages or men in Greece of that high philosophy and that high house, a lot of those were Israelites, all right? But it was a house where they would go through, they would philosophize and speak about hell and things that